Right, thanks for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at the headlines of the papers, and of course we'll be joined by none other than Charles Ideho, a journalist and social commentator. Good morning. Thanks for joining
Charles.
us.
Nice to see you.
Glad to be here.
All right, so let's begin with the Punch. Of course, all the papers are covered with this major headline: Buhari, Shagari, Obasanjo, others mourn Ekweme. He lived nobly and died in nobility, says Obasanjo. His demise, end of an era. Southeast governors: I mourn with Nigeria, for we have all lost a patriot. That's Tinubu saying, and it's with a deep sense of loss that I heard about the demise of my brother Shagari. Of course, he was vice president under Shagari.
Exactly.
Nigeria has lost a great man.
We have. We have in Ekweme. Ekweme really has. I mean, he did very well. Even while he was, excuse me, vice president, was very loyal. Okay, and he has been I think he has been one man, one Nigerian that, you know, he saw beyond the, excuse me, the Igbo enclave. His picture was Nigeria, the entire Nigeria. So everything he did was for Nigeria.
He's been described
as the G8, remember the G34, he has always been at the forefront in making sure that we left the doldrums to just bring Nigeria into the open. So I mean, we miss him. I personally will miss him too.
On one hand, a lot of people have said that being a very noble man, excuse me, and being a very respectable and a responsible politician,
and loyal
too, but he wasn't seen as a rallying factor or rallying icon in the politics of the eastern part of Nigeria.
The south.
Well, I think particularly because he wanted to be seen as a Nigerian, he played the pan-Nigerianist rather than the issue of the ethnocentric issues.
Politics that
exactly, he didn't want that. So that's exactly what stood him out. Yeah, maybe it didn't make him quite popular, I mean, amongst the Easterners. But for me, he was more a Nigerian than those who played this regional politics.
Just like Nnamdi Azikiwe before him. And incidentally, Ekweme was one of the most educated Nigerians that ever came close to
being president.
To being
as
president.
at that time.
Yes.
I mean,
an architect, a lawyer.
And all the rest, exactly. I mean, we were quite mixed him. But yes, I do understand that he wasn't quite vocal. That's understandable. He by nature, he was a very quiet man.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Lagos hospital detains mother newborn for 4 months over bail.
But do we call it detained?
Well, that's what they describe.
As if there's a crime.
Exactly. They couldn't let them go because
her crime was giving birth.
I couldn't pay it.
I couldn't pay the.
But I think maybe.
But of course, the young man responsible for the pregnancy wasn't even her husband. Of course, he bolted because he could not afford the 215,000 naira.
But the thing is that how long are we going to be continuing with this? You want to go to the hospital, you just just to give birth. You're paying so much. It shouldn't cost that much.
General hospital, for that matter, public hospital.
Yeah, imagine that exactly. So the thing is, I think we should look at the aged, the very young, and the pregnant women, and see how we can mitigate the problem
and
they are facing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I think, do we have more
yes, we
there?
actually still have. Buratai should explain Kano's whereabouts, says Abaribe. Of course, he was in court yesterday to answer to questions of Nnamdi Kano's whereabouts.
Absence,
And PDP convention, Adeniro petitions Bakarfi over election panel members. So many stories there.
Yeah, let's go to the Nation newspaper now. We have protests, anger, rock PDP ahead of December 9 convention. The panelists are Secondo's men. Adeniro is claiming that. Now, we still have the issue.
Have you learned a lesson at all? When the Supreme Court pronouncement came, people like us, we all applauded that at least indeed we're going to be seeing a viral opposition from them. But it now tells you exactly there has never been a center within PDP. What you had were people, just individuals. So they had these certificate forces that have always pulled them out now because of selfish interests rather than national interests. So except they have to submit whatever pride they have and then have them subsumed under the common interest.
There are too many powerful people.
Too many powerful
individual people.
So you have so many captains wanting to steer the ship. It's not going to work.
And no one is succumbing to the other. All right, we have rain of tributes for Ekweme, Buhari, Obasanjo, Shagari, IBB, Tinubu, Ngige. Others mourn we're certainly going to be having that as we get along. Now, we also have presidency. Another $321 million stolen cash is coming.
Coming from where?
Okay. from wherever they were fitted from abroad.
But it's also gladdening that we're beginning to hear some of these things. But what remains is that after the investigation and people who are alleged to be culpable are found, let the law take its full weight upon them. That's exactly what can serve as a deterrent. If not, people will just steal, they part with some, and then they go home and go see no more.
Some have suggested that when these monies are returned, there should be some kind of escrow account, where these funds can actually be used for,
yeah, I mentioned it on radio recently. I said
infrastructure deficit.
It may be preposterous, but for instance, if we find a Hakim guilty and money have been found for him, what we need to do is to build a monument and say Hakim stolen. We can name it. It's like naming and shaming. Yes, that counts. When you know that certain project will be tied to your name ingloriously, people will be afraid.
Yeah. But that is in a society where a good name really matters anymore.
No, it should. It definitely. When they know, because most of them are politicians, when they know that something stands in their way not to get to that place, most of them will shape up.
No, exactly. We're just talking about Alex Ekweme now.
He has a good name. He has a good name.
Now we have one more headline here. Mugabe's impeachment process begins. We're saying that today. Today is Tuesday.
Yeah, they actually said, because the thing started last week. They said if he continues to be recalcitrant, by Sunday they were going to expel him or something. Then
which they did.
That if he still continue, by Tuesday they're going to start what's it called now?
The impeachment
proceedings. But what they are doing is that because in Zimbabwe, the respect for elders is still very, very high, in high esteem. Nobody wants to disgrace. Nobody wants to disgrace a 93-year-old man out of power. Number two, even the opposition, they still regard him as father of the nation. So that's why you see that they are just treading
softly.
Yeah, exactly, just to give him a soft landing. But the man doesn't want a soft landing. Maybe he want to land hard on the ground.
Of course, the Daily Sun is reporting Ekweme grief tears. Nigerians from all walks of life, including Buhari, pay tribute to Second Republic VP. More stories, of course, from the Daily Sun. 6 killed in security operatives, ex-militant leaders shoot out. Okay, we don't really have the details of that, but of course, if you go to page 4, we'll get it. Anambra Central, appeal court orders INEC to conduct rerun in 90 days.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, let's see how the laws will be. But my problem is that why should the court now be the determinant of victories at the polls? Shouldn't people just what just happened in Anambra now? When you have contested, even though you have done well, and just let all of them are all Anambra and Anambarians, let them move on. Yeah, we are getting there. The electoral processes they're getting cleaned up and so yeah, they're evolving. So I think rather than the court determine the winners, let us determine those at the polls.
Let our democracy be organic.
I agree.
Okay, let's move to the Vanguard newspaper now. We have CJN to Buhari. Obey court orders. This is from and they say Buhari fires back and says judiciary delays cases for decades.
So if you delay, why should I do my own? You expedite action that I will do my own.
And he says the seeks prosecution, conviction of corrupt judges, and says proof of judiciary is not intimidation. Now we have that, and then we have on national airline, I am under serious pressure. Buhari is saying that.
But do we need
the answer is yes, we do need. But the question we need to ask before we come up with another one is that what happened to the last one we had? The Nigerian Airways, that was the darling of all travelers, the flying public. Yes. Something happened to it. Except we know what happened to that. We won't be able to get out of if we hastily come up with another one. The people who
because we want to see Nigeria,
they are going to go there because they are waiting in the wings. Also, they want to. They want to steal.
That's why all this pressure. Another Nigeria Airways.
Thank you for that sobriquet.
Okay, well, we are up against time now. Death of 26 migrants. Federal government queries Italy over hurried burial.
Yeah. But I learned that just about it's about 3 of them are Nigerians.
Now, the point that from the report we played earlier on, where Abike Dabiri, special advisor to the president on diaspora, was saying that they could only verify 3 to be Nigerians. The others, they couldn't verify.
They couldn't.
So because they are black women, you can't just say all of them are Nigerians.
And about the question I want to ask Evie is that, what are the factors responsible for these people wanting to leave the country at all cost? We need to address that. For people to believe, I mean, look at, they watch these things. I mean, the other time we're here, I told you about how these graves, these shallow graves are around the Sahara Desert. People, you see that they die every day and they still have this drive. So we must address why. Again, what also stopped the federal government from interfacing with the Libyan authorities to see all these even the slave camp they have over there. Markets, so we can do that and also go to Libya. Let's find how we can address these issues.
Okay, let's find how we can address the issues. Mr. and Mrs., what are they saying this morning and who's talking? I want to use the remaining eggs in the house for my facial treatment.
Obviously, it's the wife saying that. Is this the missus?
That's a woman thing.
That's the missus thing.
Rather than fry the egg, I want to use it.
Okay, so will you go and prepare yam and fried eggs for me? If my stomach is well treated, you can do whatever you like.
Play with the egg. Whatever you want to do, but women.
Okay. Well, Mr. and Mrs. is always an interesting part.
Exactly.
Women always like these things.
Exactly.
All right, let's go on a break, and we're certainly going to keep Charles with us in the next discussion, and then we have our other guests joining us. Stay with us on TVC Breakfast.
Yeah. All right, thanks for remaining with us. We're looking at voter apathy. What are the reasons behind it, and how can this be checked in the nearest future? Well, we still have Charles Ideho here. He's a journalist and a social commentator, and has since been joined by Wale Ogwade.
Ogwade.
You wanted to murder it.
Ogwade, President's lawyer, convener, Voters Awareness Initiative. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, let's set the stage this way. The Anambra election has come and gone. A winner has emerged and all is settled. But amidst all these is a recurring threat to Nigeria's electoral process, voter apathy.
In recent elections, many Nigerians have simply refused to exercise their right to vote. Now, elections are usually met with low voter turnout, and indifference at the Anambra governorship election would suffice as an example.
Now, according to the Independent Electoral Commission, more than 2 million people registered as eligible voters for the Anambra election, and only 450,511, that's about 22% of the voters actually went to the poll. Now, what can be done to address voter apathy? All right, that's a question we'll be throwing to our guests, but maybe we'll throw that question much later. Let's try to find out exactly what is at the root of this. Of course, only not too long ago, Yakub Mahmoud, the INEC chairman, expressed worries that since 2015 general elections, that voter apathy has been on the rise. Let's hear you, Mr. Wale.
Obviously, voter apathy will be on the rise because those who are supposed to do it, I'm surprised that Yakub Mahmoud knows about it, and they are not doing anything about it. In this regard, we'll try engaging INEC that indeed we must involve and educate the voters. Because of our engagement with the regime, or when what's his name now, Professor Jega was the chairman, they tried setting up a political voter awareness, voter education department, but unfortunately that one went to sleep with him. And again, I do challenge the political parties, and I'm sure all those who are watching will confirm and agree with me that it's only during when there are 2-3 weeks to the election that you begin to hear about political parties, about candidates. Whereas it should be an ongoing thing, a regular thing. And where am I going? Is that there is no none of them, all these political parties, none of them have what we call the the voter awareness department. And if you don't educate your voters, then how do you get elected? And of course, most of them think that the better the voter party, good for them. Because if others don't, if their own people, if others people don't come to vote, their own little insignificant people will come and vote. And you'll see the history of voters in Nigeria has been that we've been having a minority government. Because the last general election, more than 180 million registered to vote, but we had less than 40 million who voted. Don't let me go too far. The Anambra election is a very good example,
2.1
million vote registered to vote, just 400,000 or less than 500,000 naira, again 22%. Obviously, that is a very poor thing, and of course, it's a slap on the face of all these politicians. And why do they like it? They like it because the less to them, the merrier.
Okay, now, Charles, let me come to you on this. The point there is, whose role is it really? When it comes to voter education or voter enlightenment, whose role really it is?
Well, I think that's why we have the NOA, National Orientation Agency, whose responsibility it is to create awareness all over the country, whether it's government, people awareness, the rapport between, supposed to be a relationship between government and the government, but they seem to have failed over the years. I expect that periodically they come up with flyers in local languages and do jingles to really create this awareness for people to understand what it is, that it is their civic responsibility to do this. But I will say this, and this is hard to, the sad news is that even if you take all the voters to the university to teach them voter awareness for 4 years, the voter party will still be there. I tell you the reason. I remember that is the politicians have not been able to deliver the goods. Because, for instance, you vote, if somebody who was living on my street, we were friends and so on, then he comes to me wanting to go to the House of Rep. Then we surrender money to him. Then you don't find him for the next 4 years. Next time he comes to you, you won't go back because what you have done, you have played your own part. He has not played your part. That reminds me of Mary Gilmore, an Australian poet and essayist. After 1945, the Second World War, she looked at the world and then she came up with a poem saying, I can no longer hate, but I see the world as one. He said, but you see, even to all men at God's round table sit, all men must be fed. But this loaf in my hand, this loaf is my son's bread. That's what the politicians see. They see the loaf in their hands as their son's bread. And who contribute to the baking of the bread? All of us. The poor people. You bring your baking powder, you bring your baking cream, we all bake the bread. But the politician will see the loaf as the son's bread. So if a politician comes to me and I give him my vote, then he sees that loaf as a son's bread, there's no way I'll be motivated to vote for him. That's why I'm saying that if you like, take us all to university for 4 years to teach us the voter awareness, because the politician has failed over time to do their own. So in other words, the real voter education would be performance on the part of by default those who govern. We would have all of us just be there.
But the second leg of his argument is that because the politicians fail
to perform,
will now increase and enhance the voters to encourage them that, look, we put it there. Thank God for programs like this. When I started Voter Awareness Initiative, people said I was a madman, that it can't go, it can't fly, that in Nigeria, because it was the heydays of just allocating votes, results. But then we started and we engaged INEC, and of course it took us to the level in which now the results are pasted at the point of counting. Don't forget then, there was in the law what we call the polling station and the police station. And in fraud, to use it for fraudulent purposes, the politician will say, no, let us go and count the vote in the police station. That's what the law says, not the police station. So in the process of the travel between the police station and the police station, the votes will get belly and they go come born for the police station.
So the politicians are to blame here.
That's it. They are to blame. But again, the people now, you see, is growing gradually. You see, despite the challenges of the problems of the IPOB in Anambra, because in Anambra in 2013, less than 450,000 or so voted.
About the same number that voted here.
Yet with the security challenge, with the threat, yet people came out to vote. Then it means then definitely the apathy is going down, really, to me. I'm involved in this. You can be sure somebody should put a pen on it and look at what the number of voters in 2015, and let us look at it after the elections in 2019. And where am I going? On a regular basis, people now come to realize the power of the thumb of their votes, that indeed the vote indeed will count. Thank God for the staggered election. When it started, when Peter Obi challenged in Gigi, and of course he went to court, he won.
That was the beginning of exactly.
It added value, and I was one of those who argued. God bless the soul of Bamidele Aturu. At the platform, we were arguing, and I said, no, The Constitution in Section 180 says that it's the time that the man...
That you are sworn in.
Sworn in.
That
not counted.
Continuing
exactly.
the term that we argued it. Thank God Peter Obi came up, went to court, and that is the rule now. So because of that, we have Ekiti, we have Oshu,
exactly.
we have
a lot of states have benefited from it.
Yeah. So that one has added value to the electoral process in terms of people now saying, hey, so we can remove these people through our vote. Is that right?
So all it takes is just one man to actually do the right thing.
That's what life is all about. He was talking about
so
somebody. That's what life is all about.
Do we know what it's costing the nation to continue this trend of voter apathy? In Idemili North and South, for example, it did cost some in this last election.
Yes.
Well, the thing is that if we talk about the cost implication, it might be huge, but do the politicians care about that? They don't care about that.
Who should even care about it? Is it not the electors themselves, the voters themselves?
But we also care about how much information is available to the voters. All they know, because we still have this illiteracy playing serious role in our polity. Because the thing that all they need to tell you is that, especially, okay, let us also go to the issue of ethnicity. If it has to be our son or nobody. So when you are able to whip up this sentiment, there's no way to not have a ripples effect on the entire figure. So what we need to do is that if we want to increase voters' interest, because what people are doing is that they are hanging their faith in the hands of God, and God has moved from heaven to churches. What they need to do, they need to go to churches, and those who are keeping God in quote are the pastors, then the imam at the mosque. Let the NOA make use of the churches. It just requires a pastor to tell the congregation, go and vote. Everybody will fight, whether they like the congregation or not. I mean, for instance, when Tunde Bakari was the vice running mate to Buhari, there was a lot of. In fact, if it was going to get a whole of a block vote from his church, even as I speak today,
it's still counted for.
Just talk to a lateral person. They love Buhari to the death because of that awareness that was created when he was there. So we can make use of the churches. NOA can just go to the churches, go to the mosques, find a way to interface with them. Then this issue of raising the awareness will come. If I immediately.
You seem to be leaving it to the NOA, of course.
No, he said, of course, NOA that's the work. What was national orientation?
It was because they failed to come up that brought about my project.
Yes.
And I've tried severally to even wake them up. There was one young man, I guess Sidi Farouk, we were trying to do something. He was a DG before Omeri came up. Okay. And of course, they just looked at it that, I don't know, maybe there is a connection. Of course, there are politicians too. They say that if the voters are aware, then definitely they will spoil business for us. But to us, no. Because they must be on their toes, and they like it or not. Thank God for the introduction and the coming up of the social media. It has now thrown a whole lot of issues on. And of course, I'm happy with what has happened. In fact, I'm celebrating the Alambarian. And of course, by the time that they will be inaugurating Obiano, will go there and do a show. Not for anything, but because to celebrate the people. Because they've given us peace. You can imagine if it were the other way around. Yeah. By now, Nigeria will be boiling because a fraction of the country is in problem. All the parts of the country is in problem. Look at the IPOP issue then. Every day we are waking up, it's Nnamdi Kanu, it's IPOP, the police are beating them, the soldiers are dancing with them in a python way and so on. Now there is not that we are all having peace. And everyone wants peace. There's no day anybody will come up and come on here now. When you are introducing me, you say I'm a lawyer. No, I won't come up and say, yes, I'm a troublemaker, I'm an evil person, I'm a witch, he's a wizard. Nobody likes any evil. All of us want good things. So why don't you practice good? Nigeria is the best country in the world. I've gone around some countries.
We need to underscore that. We need to say it again.
I agree.
What all of us contribute our quota towards making Nigeria better. And we can only get it through democracy. I'm sure all of us on this table are a little bit old enough to know when Ghanaians were in this country. As stewards of food and drawers of water.
In fact, we were saying teachers.
Yeah, teachers. They told us teachers and nurses.
So here we are today. Look at history playing what's it on us.
And we're going to Ghana now.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Exactly. Going to Ghana for school, going to Ghana for business, going to Ghana for so many things.
Political salvation.
All right, let's see from another perspective. The point there is, you mentioned something earlier. All these political parties, there doesn't seem to be a difference between one and the other. If we go back to First Republic and Second Republic, all the political parties at that time were based
had
on
ideology, different ideology.
They have
Five
different
major political parties,
yes,
remember?
They had the ideologies and all of that. So
and well defined.
When you don't have an ideology, how do you orient the people? How do you get people to come on board with you? Because what you are selling is the same thing the other person is selling. Housing, we're going to build houses, we're going to give electricity, and all of
building your roads.
no ideology. Don't you think that's where part of the thing is?
The sad thing about things is that the Nigerian type democracy can never, well, let me not say can never, might not be able to, how do I say it now, might not be able to encourage the issue of ideology. I tell you why. The reason is very simple. If you have where you look at people, what their main denominator, their motivation is to go there and make money.
Yeah.
There can't be any ideology. I know somebody who sold 5 houses just to get to Abuja. So when the person gets there, he's going to be talking about ideology. First of all, you will find a way to, first of all, recoup the money from the sales of the house. He has to take form. A form is about how many millions of naira. He has to also go around sharing money. He has to give money to party men. So all these things, when you put them together, there's no way a issue of ideology will, because if you talk about ideology, they won't work. Nobody will make money. So
our democratic process, our democracy is way too expensive.
It's expensive. I mean,
we're about
19 years, almost 19 years in this experience. But we are saying where we are. How much does it take for you to even if you have an interest, to run for presidency? How much does it take to take a form? If you want to even run for even the list of them councillorship, how much does it take? So what they need to do is that
is around 10 million or there,
because this issue of it's like placing a kind of a roadblock for people who are credible to get in there. The people who are credible are those who have money, but those who have money are not the ones who are credible. Even those who don't have money, they have people they can pull as like a puppet. So they send them there as their own Man Friday. So what they get in there is that they put a string around them, just like you had the high priest. When anything happens, you put it. That's what happens. So ideology cannot fester in that kind of arrangement. So we're talking about ideology. When you get in there, this is what we're going to pursue. For instance, now we have APC, we have PDP. Have you been able to divide any line between PDP legislatures and APC legislatures? They have all converged because they have a common interest, how to make money, the issue of constitutional allowance. So even when APC has a policy to promote, you can't find, they don't find any easy support from their own APC legislators.
Well,
so that's why the problem.
Ideological lines. How difficult does it make for the voter to actually say, okay, look, this party represents, some of the ideals that I believe in, so I will buy into this party? A really major challenge when it comes to voter apathy. Yeah.
Yes. For now, we are tilted towards party politics, not ideology. And those party politics, people tie them.
That's right.
To the person.
To individuals.
Whichever way, I mean, it is the Ojukwu factor that
played out for Abga.
It's the Ojukwu factor. You saw Bianca was busy. In fact, I was thinking that she has been substituted as the running mate. I'm sure some people saw that.
Yes.
She was always there. Drumming that Ojukwu, she was talking, of course.
Invoking Ojukwu there. Just as they will invoke Mandela in the ANC.
So that is what we have for now. But the people will always move. Thank God for social media. And thank God, that's why we're saying that the press must set the agenda. There must be an agenda setting. Then people will follow. The politicians will never set any agenda. All this restructuring that they are making noise about is because for politics for 2019. When they get to office, you see they will back out.
All right,
it is the people. Let me land.
Yes.
Please, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
Let me
Very
quickly
quickly,
land.
yes.
So it is the people that will set the agenda, that will bring out the ideology they want. We'll say, okay, in Ijebu, we are Gari producers. Definitely we want Gari to be the mainstay and something to be exported.
Regardless of the fact that the people who should be setting the ideology may not necessarily be educated.
No, I'm going somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going somewhere.
Doesn't it take an educated electorate?
It's not about education. Okay. The electors are intelligent. Yeah. They may not be educated.
Or enlightened. Is that a better word?
You tell me the Hausa man is not educated?
Well, with
his radio.
In fact, he's more current.
If you engage him,
he will defeat you. He's more current than anybody.
Current affairs. So education is relative, my sister.
It's relative.
So let's take it away from there. Then now say the people say, we have agreed, this is what we want as a people. Then you look for somebody amongst you who is going to galvanize that thought. It does not matter where he goes, maybe in Abeokuta or in Abuja, either in Alausa or in Abuja, either in Yenegua or in Abuja. I'm talking about those are representatives at those various levels. Yeah. Those are what they're going to do. Remember the third-term agenda thing. I'm sorry. I'm going somewhere quickly. When it was beamed that those are the people that do not want, that want the third term, when they knew that indeed they will be beamed, everybody kowtowed and behaved as if they are a good boy. Why? Because they knew that their vote, their seat is...
Waiting for them over there.
That's where we are going. Look at this recall thing now. Everybody is sitting tight.
Well, unfortunately, no time to even talk about over-militarization and
of elections too. Yes, exactly.
And too many, security operatives. In the case of Enugu, Anambra, of course, was 27,000 security operatives.
Needless.
All right, well, gentlemen.
Needless.
All right, we have to leave it here right now. Charles Ideho.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm hearing from my producers that.
Okay, we don't necessarily have to go on break, but we'll have to say thank you to our guests for enlightening us on the show this morning. We'll